You copy?
Yeah. Then you die. Here. Just doing what needs to be done. Fuck off.
I know you clicked on this video because you're interested, or maybe because you're angry or disagree with the title of the video, the thumbnail I put. Well, I'm not here to change your opinion. I'm here to tell you how I feel, why this is not, a Ninja Gaiden game. Why Ninja Gaiden 4 is a platinum game disguised as a Ninja Gaiden game. I was hoping for a slam dunk, but there are just so many issues with the game that add up. I'm going to start off with the positives from the gameplay. It has some of that Ninja Gaiden in it, It plays somewhat like Ninja Gaiden. It's fast, kinetic, which is always Platinum's strong suit. It's a gore fest of limbs and blood. It's super combo heavy. It really is a fun game that is by far the best modern day action game I played since DMC Reboot. But as more time passes, the deeper you get in, you feel something missing. It feels like nostalgia, but it mostly feels like Ninja Gaiden is not fully there. Let's start and talk about the bosses of Ninja Gaiden 4. While more consistent and sort of solvable problems, they don't really have anything in the way of mix-ups. The RNG in older games could be frustrating, but I was hoping they'd take more inspiration from maybe some of the better neophytes or something. And some of the bosses are still kinda ass. Once you get the attack pattern and the obvious heavy red indicator attack, the bosses are not hard. It's parry and hit into blood moves. I also dislike that the bosses are more so Neo than Ninja Gaiden. Trust me, play without a lock on and you'll see how undodgeable it is. All you need to do is stand there and wait for your red indicator to use blood form to break the armor. It's not like old Ninja Gaiden bosses. I don't need to run around and think of what to do next. I don't have to target minions or leave them and go for Alma. I don't need to constantly reposition myself in a clear part of the area so the environment doesn't, play against me. Not everything could be blocked. I found myself, the best solution was just standing in a blocking position and just wait for the boss to glow red so I can counter it with blood form. You do not need to do anything fancy on the bosses. You do not need to think much at all. Study the simple attack pattern and wait for the red indicator while you hold down block and it's a win. I don't hate the bosses except that garbage Gundam mech piece of shit boss. That was not hard, but it's just so goddamn boring. But where was I again? Oh yeah, I don't hate the bosses, I just find them super modern day, easy, predictable. There is not much to them, but my favorite boss in the game is easily Kagachi. He tests your abilities, he tests your patience. It was a real fun boss that I think is up there with the top bosses of the series. Along with, Dark Yakumo. Dark Yakumo is the final boss. He was pretty badass. It was basically a test against yourself and it was by far the best boss in the game and easily a top 5 boss in Ninja Gaiden history. The level design is pretty awful in Ninja Gaiden 4. I don't know what to say. They have long traversal segments that take you out of the game and just long level periods that you get sick of. Not to mention the wall running in many aspects feels like it's almost gone from the game. And lo and behold, yellow paint. I thought something was missing in this linear level design. I don't think I'd ever get through this game if not for the yellow paint. It seriously is a lobotomy design in video games. Not only do we have an indicator on where to go, we have yellow paint to handhold the indicator. Why? The indicator is enough to show the way. We don't need yellow paint. The game industry thinks you're a jewel bag and cannot function on your own. And that's not the only problem with the level design. A lot of levels have nowhere where you can use your wall runs to jump off and attack off. A lot of levels you can just jump off the cliff. It feels like it's against gameplay design to do this. It ends up getting annoying very quickly. So basically the game has 4 levels and they're all dark. A far cry from how imaginative you could get with a cyberpunk Tokyo as the premise. Compares, to particularly to how badly to Ninja Gaiden Black or OG2, where you had a ton of distinct environments you can go through. And now in this game it's just dark and dreary and barely any spaces to move. No walls to run off of. Small platforms in a lot of fights. The level design is terrible. The targeting in softlock, while decent, falls apart when lots of enemies are involved, and when you have numerous near and far enemies, priority system feels largely absent. The magnetism is really strange because it feels almost like you're skating across to get to the enemies. Almost reminds me of an Arkham style combat move where Batman just flies across the screen to hit a thug. Also, the limbs. In Ninja Gaiden 4 you can still cut limbs off, but it's quite random. There's no combo that gives you the limb anymore. Its whole value comes down to damage and then random limbs out of nowhere. Of course the guillotine throw gives you that limb, I guess, but that's really it. It's frustrating because this was the main core of Ninja Gaiden. The bread and butter to Ninja Gaiden 2 and 1 was doing certain moves to get a limb off. It was a tool management and made it feel like not only combos and damage mattered. In this game it's just combo to hell, damage them to hell, and if you get a limb randomly, you got it, or they end up dying from your damage. There's still a lot of stuff that return, like flying solo is still there, your UT cancels and your UT air jump stuff is still there. You still have these cool little techniques. I just wish limb management was still a thing. Let's talk about the items in Ninja Gaiden 4. This right here is what really takes you out of the game. It's optional of course, but these items are so easy to not just acquire. They make the game way too easy. 5 HP potions, 3 greater HP potions, attack increase, defense increase, a easy to buy auto revive, Kai gauge recovery. It's not just the item problem, it's how easy you can rack up these ninja points to get said items. Toward chapter 11 I was just buying out the store like nothing. I could tank through enemies on hard without thinking, and with the blood form plus a attack increase, I turned to the fucking boss battle like it's a weak ass, like he's a small enemy. I just like the item handholding and I feel it took away from the game. Let's talk about Ryu Hayabusa. The reason we play Ninja Gaiden, the reason we love Ninja Gaiden, mostly the reason. Ryu's inclusion feels like a total afterthought. Early interviews suggested that he was going to be a significant part of the game, even if not the majority. But he's basically a glorified Sigma girl. He has like 2 text box missions with Ayane, but his cutscenes are all kind of basic. His bosses are mostly repeated. His levels somehow repeated and uglier to look at. Ryu's missions reminded me exactly of DMC4 reverse backtracked garbage. And he has one weapon. Also, Ryu's blood form is way better than Yakumo's because of how quick it is. It's way better, the startup attacks are so good. It's faster, more intense. It does not make me feel slowed down like Yakumo's moves. The only positive I had from Ryu is that he was such a badass to play. He was so fun. very intense and unbelievably overpowered. They showed why Ryu is the legendary ninja, and it showed well. Yakumo's move list feels very samey. It's a stark contrast from the Dragon Sword, which has a lot of distinct strings. Lots of stuff removed from the game versus prior titles on landing, running states, hold heavies, and so on and so forth. You used to be able to do directional mid-string combos like XXXY, forward or right, XXX, YY, hold Y, you know, all that stuff. None of that is here. And every weapon has mostly the same attack patterns. Despite the problems, I enjoyed Yakumo a lot. His weapons are fun. It was nice seeing a different version somewhat of the staff, or the throw bullshit mystery box you get that has all the ancient ninja tools and weapons like demon shurikens, explosive bombs, tonfas, the Wolverine claws. It was a pretty awesome idea for a weapon kit. I'm kind of a mixed on the blood form movesets. There are weapon transformations that are pretty sick, but a lot of them have really slow startups. So it's best not to start with these moves. They're best used while comboing rather than a startup because of the timing. I like them, but the flaw of them is not just a slow startup. It feels like it slows down the combat and adrenaline a lot, and I dislike that. I wish they were just as fast as the normal weapon attacks. It would have made for a better experience. Enemy variety is solid, but is all chunked together based on the level basically, so it can become tiresome to fight the same dudes for hours on end. But it was nice to see old enemies come back like that dickhead fishes. Also the huge apostle monsters came back, that was cool, and the little ones. But yeah, the enemies having these huge armors, it's just kinda lame and too much against the core of what made Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 so good. Also, the AI does not really test you as much as Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. In Ninja Gaiden 4, it is aggressive, but it's not as aggressive like Ninja Gaiden 2 or 1, where the enemy design was balanced near perfect at. A lot of them can block, can projectile, can counter your wall hits, grab you, parry you. You had to mix it up at times due to enemies fighting against your moveset. In this game, it's just attack, 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 and some projectiles. And the blood form breaks the moves, and you know, a simple parry red indicator. That is really the only other counter to enemies, and of course, these stupid AoE purple gas enemies that melts your health if you're on it. I didn't fully enjoy the enemy AI in Ninja Gaiden 4. It felt like this was a setback even from the Razor edition of Ninja Gaiden 3. At least Steel and Bone was a good counter that you had to dodge in order to escape red attacks and get combo kills, kill enemies with it. And a lot of that Ninja Gaiden 2 enemy design was somewhat still there in Ninja Gaiden 3. Sadly, I could not say the same thing for Ninja Gaiden 4. Sadly, so many slow walk and talk moments and slow camera pan sections, tons of forced traversal. I got so tired of grinding rails like I'm fucking Sonic into a wind flying glider or a surfboard constantly. It was boring. It was fun for a good 2 minutes and got really annoying and took away from the levels completely. The story is by far the worst in the series. The cast of characters came straight out of a modern day isekai anime. It was quippy, corny, voice lines were corny, awful, dialogue was awful. Well, yes, the rest of the series is anime-like. It was more of a 2000s or 90s anime. I wish ultimately they would just give us more short scenes like the old games. The stories in Ninja Gaiden 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2 are really simple and fun. I like the way they are presented. They are basically just a loose motivation for Ryu and fill the cutscenes with cool ass action like the past did. Instead, no. We got a...
Put her there, partner.
Yep. I'm jacking off to
big titty girl yapping with a cliche voice and dialogue. I like looking down, but I don't like hearing and looking up. Yakumo reminded me of DMC reboot Dante, or should I say Dante. Unpopular opinion though, I like Dante way more, or should I say Dante way more than Dante.
You what?
But I like Dante a lot more than Yakumo. Yakumo's appearance was rather anime edgelord, but not in the cool way of Guts from Berserk or Alucard from Hellsing or something. Like a edgelord in a shonen anime, you know? Think Black Clover or an isekai. Very much off-putting to look at when I look at the aesthetic of the series. His lines were whatever, a lot of edge and very few words. It's whatever. I like it somewhat, but I also hate it because it just doesn't really fit into what Ninja Gaiden is or this series is. And Ayane is there, I guess. The problem here is, in general, the game feels like it doesn't really do much with the legacy of the franchise beyond the little wink wink nod nod stuff. It tries to establish all this new Raven Clan stuff, but feels kinda inconsequential, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Lots of little quality of life frustrations they put in the game. I pretty much zoned out from the story listening to a lot of it due to how dull and boring it was, but basically, a small time skip happens. Ryu defeated the Dark Dragon God but was unable to fully destroy the Dark Dragon, so this is when Yakumo comes in, a young ninja of Raven Clan sent on a mission to assassinate the Dark Dragon Preatress, aka the white-haired big titty girl, in order to fulfill a prophecy to permanently defeat the Dark Dragon as atonement for being its descendants. Yakumo must infiltrate the DDO prison and confront Sori, the priestess, the big titty girl we're just gonna call her, and the key to defeating the Dark Dragon due to her being the only way that can break the seal imprisoning it, and claims that if she can break the seals and revive the Dark Dragon, she can purify it and make it vulnerable. But she needs Yakumo's help to escape the prison, in which he agrees with and teams up with the big titty girl, where Yakumo takes on several demons over the course of the game to break each seal of the Dark Dragon. When they get to the final seal, it is revealed by the big titty girl that in order to revive the Dark Dragon, she must be sacrificed since her body contains the soul of the Dark Dragon. Yakumo hesitates after growing this unknown-ass bond with her, though the game that never progressed into nothing but, anyways, Masaki instead kills the big titty girl, revealing himself to be the great fiend Achilles, who was originally summoned by the Dark Dragon. After Yakumo kills him and his waifu, he never had any sort of bond with, dies in his arms. Ryu arrives and speaks on when he first met the big titty girl, and where we get flashback missions of backtracks and same repetitive level designs, but this time it's Ryu, and he's back with a very bland and empty move list with one sword. But anyways, several years ago, Ryu rescued the big titty girl from Achilles, who had forced her into summoning the Dark Dragon. Ryu beats him in a battle, of course, and tells the big titty girl that she can steal away the Dark Dragon, since the Hayabusa clan do not have the power to destroy it permanently, and only the Raven clan are capable of this. So Ryu helps the big titty girl set up seals and even capture the fiends, aka same bosses, same levels. But after all that, Ryu and the big titty girl get the deed done. And after those lackluster missions of the past, we are back into the present. Ryu Hayabusa duels Yakumo to test his skills and passes the test. And Ryu believes in him and hands the jewel over to him. This jewel Yakumo uses summons the Dark Dragon Blade, we know what that is from previous games, which is capable of purifying the Dark Dragon when wielded by a Raven Clan ninja. And in the final battle, Yakumo defeats the Dark Dragon and fights a weird-ass Kingdom Hearts nobody version of Yakumo, Dark Yakumo. And after the real Yakumo wins, he dispels the curse from Tokyo and redeems the Raven Clan's bloodline. The credits was a positive here because Tokyo turns bright, colorful, daytime, and you basically fight DDO enemies to escape Tokyo while the credits rolled. Pretty cool stuff here. But at the end of the day, the story was boring, bland, and a mess. And basically had little to no Ryu Hayabusa in it. Hell, Ayane is in 2 cutscenes and 2 text box dialogues. General game feel, parameters just aren't really Ninja Gaiden enough for me, though Ryu is definitely a lot closer. It's still a fun game, but I like it a lot less than 1, Ninja Gaiden OG 2, or even Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and even Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor Edition I like more. Maybe with the DLC it could be better, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff like the mobility, the aerial, GT, gleam, and various tech that I really like, but I find myself wishing certain aspects from Ninja Gaiden 4 could be backported to the old games rather than really want to keep spending a lot of time on 4 itself. I'm satisfied with it as a Platinum game title, treating it as a Metal Gear Revengeance 2, but I'm disappointed as a Ninja Gaiden title after waiting all these years. It's missing too many nuances of previous titles to make it feel like a true sequel. Great for what it tries to do, but it's just a shame they killed half the philosophy of what made the Ninja Gaiden Reboot trilogy so great. I hope that Team Ninja is far more hands-on with the future titles.